Welcome to Witch Way. I'm Elise, and this is the real world witch lore of The Changeling. Based on the book of the same name by Victor Lavelle, this horror drama was released as a series in 2023 and stars Lakeith Stanfield as Apollo and Clark Bucko as Emma. Emma and Apollo are new parents and struggling to find their new normal. When Emma returns to work after maternity leave, she starts receiving strange texts that disappear soon after. This soon leads her to suspect something is wrong with the baby. She commits an unspeakable act before disappearing. Apollo's world is rocked by his wife's betrayal, and he wants answers. He needs to find her. On his journey, he starts questioning what he thought happened as he uncovers a strange new world that belongs in fairy tales, not in modern-day New York. The first witch we see is a washerwoman at a lagoon in Brazil. Bruxa means witch in Portuguese, but it's in Celtic mythology that we find a likeness of this witch. There are many mythological washerwomen, but the most similar to our witch seems to be in Scottish folklore, the Ben Ni, a spirit who performs the endless task of washing the blood from the clothes of those who are about to die. Some tales tell of the origins of this spirit as being that of a woman who died during childbirth. But you could prevent this fate if you washed the clothes of the deceased on the day that they died. You may even be able to prevent your own death if you sneak up on the Ben Ni, washing her clothes, and catch her unawares. She will then be able to grant you your heart's desire, or in some tales, like in our series, 3 wishes, just like the washerwomen who Emma approaches on her travels. Though Emma's wishes are tied in knots by red thread. From what I can tell, red thread is often used in spells for protection. Does that mean Apollo breaks this protection when he cuts the thread? Before his world is shaken, Apollo is a book dealer, and of course, he comes across some occult books in the series.
The Sorcerers of Dobu.
This first one is an anthropological study of the Dobuan people of Papua New Guinea from 1932. Apollo also tells us the title of the next book.
Witches still live.
This is Witches Still Live by Theda Kenyon from 1929 and sounds like a fascinating read as it details the history of witchcraft as well as its practice at the time the book was published. And in this book, this is where Apollo finds a real rarity.
Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley was, of course, an occult practitioner who founded the religion of Thelema. Among other things, he was also a poet, and the line on the postcard we see in this series is from the book The Scented Garden of Abdullah, the Satirist of Shiraz, by Aleister Crowley. We also see a few more real books in the box that Apollo comes across. Witch Hunting, Magic and the New Philosophy, An Introduction to Debates of the Scientific Revolution, 1450 to 1750, by Brian Easley from 1980. Witchcraft, the Old Religion, from 1973, by Dr. Leo Louis Martello, who writes about the roots of the old religion as practiced today by witches of many different traditions. He shows the differences between true witches, old religionists, pop witches, Christian-defined witches, and Satanists. This also leads me to my last and favourite title in the box, Satan, Sorcery, and Sex, a timely investigation into the insidious dangers of witchcraft and Satanism. Anyone without warning may be possessed by the forces of evil. Govern yourselves accordingly. And this book is by Theodore Lawrence. Apollo feels like he might need to govern himself accordingly when his wife does the seemingly unthinkable after being advised by the wise ones. But who are the wise ones?
Witches.
Yes, witches. Wise ones could also refer to wise women or men who were folk healers, also known as cunning folk. I've also seen reference to wise ones as being known as earth angels, spirits of sorcerers, witches, and wizards who had died but reached a higher plane of existence, but reincarnated back again on Earth to guide humanity. And some sources trace the very origins of the word witch to mean wise one. The image we see in the series when Apollo is investigating the wise ones is a woodcut depicting the Derenberg witch trials, which took place in Germany in October of 1555. The witch pamphlet, a type of newsletter, records that 4 victims were burnt at the stake after being found guilty of witchcraft. The witches in The Changeling believe they are doing what is right and that they have all had experiences with changelings, for which the series and novel are named. Changelings come from European folklore, where human children are taken by supernatural beings, and these beings would replace them with either an item or their own offspring. Either way, this item or the offspring were magicked to look like the kidnapped child. These beings were sometimes fairies, demons, or trolls. There were ways to get these beings to bring back the child. Some tales it was to make the changeling laugh. Others were to punish it, which unfortunately led to real cases of child abuse. The series pulls from Norwegian folklore of changelings, and there is a Norwegian fairy tale I came across collected by Asbjørnsen and Moe called The Witch, where a woman goes to a witch for help with her baby, thinking that it could be a changeling. The witches in the series tell a more well-known fairy tale, Rapunzel, but from the witch's point of view. She takes the child promised to her and locks her away in a tower to protect her, but the world always finds its way in. So these witches hide away from the world on an island, protecting others like themselves and what little they have left. They also have access to a boat on their island, which they have dubbed the Merry Cat. Now, I know this name, and I really hope this is indeed a nod to the witchy protagonist, Mary Catherine Merrycat Blackwood of Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle, another great book that has been adapted into a witchy film. The Changeling scores for lore and history, and I like how they turned the story of child murdering witches into an ultimate leap of faith and to the lengths that parents will go to for their child. There are some trigger warnings for postnatal depression and child abuse in the series, so consider yourself forewarned. It is, however, well worth the watch, with the retro vibe, the cinematography, the acting, all fantastic, and it made it into my best witchy series of 2023. What did you think of the series? Let me know in the comments below, as well as any other recommendations for my upcoming Witch Lore reviews. Please remember to complete your Witch Way ritual by liking this video, sharing it with anyone who you think might enjoy this Witch Lore, and subscribing to my channel to be notified of my upcoming Witch Lore reviews. If you would really like to help support my channel, you can also donate via the super thanks button, and it would be very much appreciated. As always, thank you very much for watching here on Witch Way.